The police have begun to arrest the police, but who is in charge of the police? We're also going to look at Julius Mkhwanazi, the world's most bent cop, finally going to jail, but not for the reasons that you think. And then we are going to share some of the unorthodox local government election strategies that are being adopted by the African National Congress and the Patriotic Alliance. Welcome to The Political Insider, where this episode is brought to you by our friends at Trade Nation. If you're interested in trading markets, be they commodities, indices, currencies, whatever you can think of, Trade Nation is the platform for you. So if you're interested in trading markets, go visit the Trade Nation website. There's a link below, and perhaps it's something for you. They help us to stay on air. Perhaps they need your support. Right, so the last couple of days has proven one thing. We get a lot of comments on the Political Insider where people say, yes, we've got all of these commissions, we hear all of this stuff, but is anybody being charged? Is anybody being arrested? Well, here's the good news. A lot is happening, and the last 3 days have probably been the most tumultuous in the history of the South African Police Service in the new South Africa. Let's have a look at the last 3 days. Well, on Tuesday, I suppose the last 4 days now, and on Tuesday, the 21st of April, nobody less than the actual police commissioner, the top cop, Fani Masemola, appeared in court, facing charges alongside several senior colleagues, right, and renowned criminal Kat Matlala. This all is in relation to the accused people's roles or their lack of oversight in relation to Kat Matlala's company getting a 360 million rand South African Police Service tender. Here you had one of the most accomplished criminals in the land, somebody who has been in trouble with the law for decades, winning a tender to provide health care for the South African Police Service. Let that sink in for a while. Surely all of those senior policemen who sign off such a massive tender would have been triggered a little bit by seeing the name of Vusimuzi Kat Matlala, because this guy's been on the police radar screens forever. How do we know that? Because his cases always seem to disappear. But that wasn't enough, and there we had the police commissioner himself, the ultimate signatory of a deal of that magnitude, signing off on this deal. He now has a case to answer. The day before, on the 20th of April, we had Sergeant Fani Nkosi. He was formerly in the Gauteng Organized Crime Unit, and he appeared in court facing firearm-related charges as well as docket theft charges. Now, we can't be too picky about what people are being charged for here. Here you've got somebody who was definitely a very key operative in the whole crime syndicate and police operation. The part that Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi warned about at his press conference in July 2025. Right? He was exactly the guy that the criminal syndicates had on the inside that would arrange all of their dirty work. Even if that is going to take a long time to come to charges, but it's the small stuff that get you. It's very easy to prove docket theft. It's very easy to prove firearm-related offenses. Yeah. We saw it recently with Julius Malema. Some crimes are easier to prove than others. And then on Sunday, the 19th of April, suspended Mpumalanga Police Chief Daphne Manamela emerged from the woodwork. This woman has been suspended for like 2 years, and she held a rather random press conference. It's sort of a mini version of what Mkhwanazi did last year, where she made allegations of cover-ups and attributing some of them to the police commissioner Masemola himself. Right? She named names. The conference was covered live by the SABC. Yes, it lacked the glamour of people in police fatigues looking like they're staging a military coup. But the point is, that this happened, and either Manamela is yet another crooked cop, because she has been targeted before. She was suspended from 2023. She had to fight a legal battle against her suspension, which she won. It was set aside in the Gauteng High Court. And the point is that senior police officers have understood you're either there telling the truth, trying to get other people in jail, or you going to jail, right? You can't sit idly by. Now, the question starts emerging, what's happening above them? Because we know that South Africa does not have a police minister, right? Let's not forget, we don't have a police minister. In actual fact, we must be one of the few countries that has two police ministers. One is spending his time at the beach or watching Netflix using your and my tax money. The president has suspended former or currently on leave police minister Senzo Mchunu, and he implemented an acting police commissioner, and that is the very professorial and Professor Feroz Kachalia. And all Kachalia could do as the acting police minister was to condemn Manamela, saying that her statement was inconsistent with established protocols of SAPS. Now, Mr. Acting Minister, I understand that every organization needs protocols, but you have inherited. The reason you are sitting in that acting position is because your predecessor has been mentioned in aiding and abetting dodgy stuff. You are now trying to blame a police commissioner for actually raising the issue of criminality. I don't care, as a citizen that pays your salary, what your protocols may be. I want policemen that send dirty cops to jail. That's what I want. I don't know about you. If you're interested more in your established protocols, which seem to have worked so brilliantly in South Africa to date, your established protocols, just look at how great our police service is. They're making TV documentaries about it all the time, right? To hell with your protocols. Can we please just get policemen doing their jobs, not worrying about your protocols? Now, according to Lieutenant General Manamela, she did try your protocols because she had previous attempts to highlight these issues, right? Working with your protocols, and it didn't work. Now, I'm confused because a year ago, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi did basically the same thing. He held his press conference where he said that there's a lot of dodgy stuff going on. He mentioned names. And what did he get? He got a high-level commission of inquiry headed by a judge. And now it's led to all sorts of revelations. Why, when Lieutenant General Manamela does pretty much the same thing, but this time not coming out of KwaZulu-Natal, but coming out of Mpumalanga, does she get a rebuke from our acting police chief? Is it that we don't like her? Is it that she wasn't wearing the military fatigues? Is it that she doesn't have the sex appeal of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi? Is it because she's a woman? Or is it because she's lying? You claim it's because she's not following protocols. Well, I don't understand what you have in mind. But all I know is right now, as this goes to air, we have no police commissioner. He is suspended. We have no permanent minister of police. One's suspended and one's worried about protocols. At some point, President Cyril Ramaphosa and his government of national unity have to crawl out of the woodwork and say something about this policing crisis, because the thing that is starting to be deafening to me is the silence from our political masters in this country. How they are saying nothing about this mess that's going on. Not one word. You would think that nothing's happening if you just follow the politics as closely as I do. Not one person from any party has mentioned a thing about these commissions and some of the revelations, right? If this was any other country, we would carry those interviews 10 times a day. But in South Africa, not a peep from our political superiors. So This is now the next frontier, is to start saying it's time for our politicians to start saying stuff. If they're going to stay silent, it means they are happy with the way things are going. While this is happening at the Madlanga Commission, the Tshwane CFO, Gareth Mnisi, continued to annoy every commissioner and evidence leader at the Madlanga Commission. This person is incapable of answering a question. Yes, no answers get half-hour explanations, right? And he denied breaking rules. I mean, I'm going to give you one instance. He denied breaking rules when he shared documents related to another security company that's doing work for the city of Tshwane. He shared the documents with his brother, best friend, Sergeant Fani Nkosi, which would then help Fani Nkosi's brother's security company. This guy claims that he has never broken any rules, laws, etc., and he was in charge of the bid committee. Good luck. Good luck, son. You're going to need it, because right now you're busy dancing. You are the opposite of some of these other people that have ended up in jail, where they stumbled into jail. You are waltzing into jail. Right? You know that just this past couple of days, Julius Mkhwanazi, the suspended Ekurhuleni police chief, actually appeared in court and ended up in jail. It's an interesting case because it doesn't have to do with all of the criminality that we know Julius Mkhwanazi for that has emerged at the commissions. In this case, the police chief Mkhwanazi and former city manager Kagiso Larutla appeared in the Boksburg Magistrates Court. This was after Mkhwanazi was arrested at his home, where he was found with ammunition that he shouldn't have at home. This ammunition has got to do with stuff that, this is called taking your work home. But anyway, ammunition, once again, it's the simple stuff that gets you arrested. But Larutla's arrest is interesting because this stems from something from a way back. In March 2019, Larutla was arrested for speeding and released on bail. Okay, the guy was speeding, kids. And then he fails to appear in court. He must have been going at some speed, and it led to a warrant for his arrest for not appearing in court. Instead of attending the hearing, he contacts Julius Mkhwanazi, who then sets up this wonderfully brilliant scheme. Somebody else, not Larutla, attends the hearing in place of Larutla. Let's call that person Mr. X. But 400,000 Rand in cash is shared between Julius Mkhwanazi and Mr. X, this person that appeared in his place. The prosecutor then orders the fake Mr. Larutla to do community service. He does community service once and disappears. Right? Now, these are people that are working for the state and meant to maintain law and order. So this is the kind of stuff that our criminal masterminds are going to go down for. Yeah, we have said this to death. It's the same as Al Capone, having killed hundreds of people, goes to jail for tax evasion. It's the little stuff that gets you. Julius Mkhwanazi is now having to fight this case for something that happened 7 years ago, and I couldn't be happier. Right, before we carry on, let's remember that the State of the Nation is having another breakfast, and this is going to be a doozy. You don't want to miss this. On May the 6th, in Sandton, Dr. Frans Cronje and Bonsai Shongwe will be joining me on stage as we dissect where South Africa is and where South Africa is heading. If you are interested in joining us at this event, go to our website at sona.co.za, book your place. Take your own table. Bring clients. It's going to be fantastic. You need to be armed with the kind of political information that these people have. So visit sona.co.za, or there's a link in the description below. One of the topics that's going to come up is the local government elections happening at the end of the year. Now, the question is, would you fancy becoming an ANC mayor? I ask this question because their Secretary General, Fikile Mbalula, also known as the court jester, says that he's going to be launching a campaign in July, because that's when they're going to announce the actual date, that a campaign where they are looking for the best of the best to represent the ANC, even if those people are outside of the party, to fill very important roles like mayors and so on. Now, this is ironic that the ANC would want to, have the best of the best. This is the ANC whose mayor in Johannesburg is Dada Marera, who didn't want the job and looked like he's being held hostage. This is the same party that decided that the best of the best, when they did govern Johannesburg, were two compromised characters from Al Jamar party. So let's take him at his word, and let's say the ANC has turned over a couple of new leaves, and they want the best of the best, right? So now they have also said, the court jester once again talking again, saying that he's issued an ultimatum, because he's a serious chap. He's got a beard now. He's very serious. Only serious people have beards, right? He's issued an ultimatum to the South African Communist Party, because those communists, they respond to ultimatums, because the Communist Party has started to contest elections under their own brand. Now, he has said to members, and there are many, that are members of the ANC and members of the Communist Party, because they've been in this merry alliance for a long, long time. And he says his members will have to choose one or the other. Now, this is not just an idle threat, because we've got a couple of ministers and deputy ministers that are proud members of both. Many are quiet about their memberships, but some wear it as a badge of honor. We do know that our Minister of Science and Technology, we have a Minister of Science and Technology, we do. And that is Blade Nzimande, the sharpest guy in Parliament. He's been there for about 20 years and yet to do anything. He's the Minister of Science and Technology and has been the long-time president of the Communist Party. How about our Minister of Mineral Affairs, the chairman of the ANC, Gwede Mantashe, right? He's the guy who has destroyed mining in South Africa. He's a proud communist too. The Minister of Higher Education, Buti Manamela, he's deputy president of the Communist Party. And a very senior member of the Communist Party is our Deputy Minister of Finance, David Masondo. Now, there's irony for you, isn't it? That somebody, a very senior communist, is running the Ministry of Finance when they hate finance. But this is how the ANC rolls. And we also have the Deputy Minister of Police, and that is Polly Boshielo. Very quiet on the whole commission thing, but these people are all members of the Communist Party. And according to the Secretary General, they're going to have to choose whether they're going to be members of the ANC or members of the Communist Party. As to quote Mbalula, they can't be in government by day and campaign for the SACP at night. He then said that the ANC can claim 10 victories. All of those 10 victories are victories that were either doing what we pay them to do or stuff that's been outsourced to other people. Like, for example, they say, well, we fixed up in electricity. That was done through Operation Vulindlela by the private sector, but don't, Fikile Mbalula, let truth get in the way of a good story. Another party who has told us about their election strategy is the Patriotic Alliance. Now, Gayton McKenzie is a man who understands strategy, and while the rest of us were playing chess, he was playing checkers. The Patriotic Alliance announced a coup when one of the Democratic Alliance's rising stars, Liam Jacobs, was convinced to defect from the Democratic Alliance to the Patriotic Alliance. And Liam Jacobs has been at that point, he was a member of Parliament for the Democratic Alliance, and he's been in a few roles without really sort of bedding down any of those roles. It was announced at one point that he was going to be the Patriotic Alliance's mayoral candidate for the city of Cape Town, right? At one point, it was even mentioned that he might be the city of Tshwane's mayoral candidate, while being a councillor in the city of Joburg. Yeah, this all gets very confusing. Well, it turns out Liam Jacobs is now returning to Parliament, just as an ordinary member of Parliament, which is a role that he had when he was in the Democratic Alliance. And the announcement has been made that Cheslin Steenberg, a Patriotic Alliance councillor in the city of Cape Town will be their party's new mayoral candidate in the city of Cape Town. Now, the question that came to my mind is, why would this make any difference that this deception, which was meant to mislead the Democratic Alliance, would do anything at all? How's it going to change their campaign? Are they going to say, oh, hell, we were all prepared to fight Liam Jacobs, but in actual fact, now we have to fight Cheslin Steenberg? There's been no response from the Democratic Alliance, where their current mayor and recently elected party leader, Jordan Hill-Lewis, said absolutely nothing. And there's no truth in the rumor that he was found in a corner in the fetal position, having heard this information after he was so brilliantly misled by the Patriotic Alliance. These elections are going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to be covering them closely. So let's remember, support Trade Nation. Go check out their trading platform. Book to come and attend our breakfast on the 6th of May, and subscribe to The Political Insider. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you again soon.